Okay, guys, welcome to this week's weekly activity. So, this week we are focusing on what essentially is art. It'll be part of our discussion board, and it'll be kind of the topic that we focus on with the module. So, for this weekly activity, it should be fairly simple, I hope. You guys are going to get a few supplies. You can just use whatever you have around your house. You can get a pencil or a pen, a plain piece of white paper. I do have my sketchbook here. You can use a sketchbook, you can use computer paper, you can use colored paper as well if you want to, if you have a piece of plain colored paper. But please do make sure it's plain. Please make sure that it is not lined paper. And then grab maybe a few coloring supplies. So I have some colored pencils here. You can use paint, you can use a highlighter, you can use collage material, like this is some old wallpaper stuff I have. So anything you have around with you, don't overcomplicate it. Crayons, markers, colored pencils, a couple different colors of highlighters. You can use one color highlighter depending on what you want to do. Um, but so just a few of those items to get you started. So once you have your pencil and pen, whatever your materials are going to be, like I said, I'm going to use colored pencils. We're going to get started with this activity. So what you're going to do, I'm going to use my pen. If you prefer to use a pencil, once again, that's fine. You are going to pick a spot on the paper and you are going to do one continuous line. So what I mean by that, let me show you an example first before I get started. You are going to find a place on your paper and you are going to do a continuous line. So you're not going to lift your pencil, okay? You can do as much or as little as you want. So I'm going to create my design. Hopefully you can see most of this. I'm going to start in the corner over here. And if you kind of have some concepts you want to incorporate in there, feel free to do so. Just remember to not pick up your pen or pencil. It also does not have to have any kind of theme or rhythm of such. It can just be random. I'm a big flower person. It can be abstract. It probably will look more abstract in general, even if you're trying to make it realistic because you're not picking up the pen. Maybe you're really good at these. This is also what's called a contour drawing when we talk about line. And it's where you continuously move the material that you're using to create a work of art. Now, a blind contour, which I think are a lot of fun, are when you do the same thing, but you actually don't look at the paper. So some people get a little freaked out by that. If you want to try a couple blind contours, you can as well. I'm going to do one right now. So I'm going to get my spot on the paper. I'm actually turning my head away. And I'm going to hope that what I'm drawing. Okay, I kind of had the right idea. Let me bring my pen back so I don't lift it. So you guys can see right there, that was my blind contour. So I kind of had the movement going. Now I think I'm just going to kind of make it random. Still have not picked up my pen or pencil. Okay. So you can just do one continuous line throughout and then you can create your own shapes. Like I said, I'm kind of into flowers. So I'm going to connect mine back here and then I'm going to let go. So would you maybe consider this art? Maybe, maybe not, but that's what our theme is going to be about for this week's activity. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to add some color to it, and then we'll come back after that and we will talk a little bit more about what was created here. So I'm going to get to adding my color here, um, and we will go from there. All right, so I'm going to stop for there for right now. As you can see, I went in and added some color. I've added some detail to some things. Obviously, you can go into as little or as much detail or depth as you would like. You do not necessarily have to cover the entire drawing of whatever you come up with. You can fill the whole page with color or collage or paint or whatever you want to do, but you do not necessarily have to do that. Um, just think about it in terms of the composition as a whole. Does it look unified? So I'm probably going to go in and finish this and then post just a final copy of my drawing. But just so you guys have a kind of a short tutorial to look after. But I'm probably going to go in and fill in the rest of these and then hopefully post that um, along with this final copy so that you can see that, because I don't like a lot of blank and white space left unfinished. But think about your design, whatever you come up with, whether you come up with kind of a theme like I did, or whether you just do a continuous line like so, or something similar. And maybe after you do that, maybe that's where your theme comes into play. Maybe you start to see something take place. Maybe you're like, okay, so maybe this is a face, or maybe this is XYZ, and start to come up with your color design or things like that. You can also even use, I should have mentioned this earlier, you could use, if you're using a pencil or a pen, you could use that and go in and add some shade or color or depth to some of the areas. So you don't technically necessarily have to use color, or if you have like a black Sharpie or colored pencil or something, you could do the same thing, draw your lines, and then just go in and maybe add some values. So like here, you could do a little bit of hatching. You could come back with cross hatching. You can make this, maybe a lighter gray area. So it obviously doesn't necessarily have to be color. I'm more of a color person, so I like to add that into mine. But if you're limited on supplies or resources, this may be a good option for you if you only have something like a pencil or a pen. So um, I'm going to finish this up. I hope this helped you guys, and I look forward to seeing your weekly activities.